Activity 4.5 Project Scenarios. The aim of this activity is to encourage some reflections about the possible evolutions of the neighborhood's environmental, urban, and social context based on the climate and health profile and on the perception of urban quality as it has been investigated in Activity 4.4. This activity focuses on developing images for the future of the neighborhood. To build the project scenarios, Clique proposes a reinterpreted version of the European Awareness Scenario Workshop. This aims to find an agreement between the different groups of stakeholders with the aim of reaching a consensual definition to solve the main problems of the territory in which they live. In our case, the aim of the seminar is to identify and share actions to adapt to climate change and to protect the health of citizens and users of the city. The European Awareness Scenario Workshop is built on two main activities: the development of visions and the proposition of ideas. For our project, we suggest to refer to two possible scenarios: the business as usual and the shared and sustainable scenario. The business as usual scenario involves maintaining the current status of places and leaving everything as it is. This means taking responsibility for having evaluated the consequences, dealing with an expected climate framework that will evolve in a certain way, and assessing the impacts on health, well-being, and the quality of life in the neighborhood. The shared and sustainable scenario suggests responding to the major issues of climate change raised in the neighborhood, to respond to expected and anticipate threats and risks of negative repercussions of incautious decisions. This scenario is the result of a debate among stakeholders as it happens in European Awareness Scenario workshops. By applying the European Awareness Scenario workshop, the students will identify the most appropriate adaptation actions and the related design choices, proceeding with the following steps. Identification of climate risks that could affect the neighborhood and that could endanger the health and the well-being of the population in the future. The time horizon is 2030-2050. The construction of a list of adaptation and mitigation actions that could be defined as promising for the future. These actions stem from the knowledge developed with Deliverable R1 and from guidelines, European and international projects. The construction of a project concept with the actions that will be considered more performing. Using scenario analysis, teachers aim to enable students to develop the following skills: reasoning and problem-solving skills, decision-making capacity by comparing the criticalities and the resources of the territory with the different needs of local actors. In the various phases of this activity, it is possible to observe how the students will relate to each other and with local actors, their potential future interlocutors during their professional activity, how they communicate, listen, engage in dialogue, and give feedback, how they cooperate and coordinate as team members, build relationships, and solve practical problems and sometimes even conflicts. The scenario analysis offers an excellent teaching vehicle for investigating complex and ambiguous issues requiring an interdisciplinary approach with the support of experts who can help participants understand the effectiveness of those actions that should be implemented, especially with respect to critical issues and threats. The final products of Activity 4.5 will be presented through reports, summary texts about the results of European Awareness Scenario workshops, maps with the location of the selected adaptation actions, project and design solutions, like project concepts, oral and design presentations. By the end of this activity, students should be able to Recognize and evaluate the risks of climate change for health and living spaces in the neighborhood. Understand the priorities in the selection of adaptation and mitigation actions with reference to the health risks for the inhabitants of cities and urban spaces. Recognize the importance of having a relationship with other disciplinary knowledges in addressing climate adaptation issues. Understand the importance of comparing different skills and needs in the selection of actions and projects for adaptation to climate change. Types of courses. The teachers will provide short lectures to illustrate the construction of the business as usual and shared scenarios in order to build a list of actions and elaborate the project concept. During the laboratory activities, the students will build basic materials like maps and diagrams that will be used in the workshop with the neighborhoods for the construction of alternative scenarios and a risk matrix. In addition, within the laboratory, the group studies will draft a list of adaptation actions selected in R1 that will be submitted to the workshop participants and a project concept. Under the coordination of students, the workshops will involve local stakeholders with citizens, technicians, and administrators. During the workshops, students will propose and discuss scenarios, develop risk matrices, and select more suitable adaptation actions. At the end, they will define a design concept. The students, coordinated by the professors, will be the facilitators of the workshop and will guide the construction of the immersive reality, interactive tools, simulation urban games, public art,